नानक हुक्मी आहो जाओ, नानक हुक्मी आहो जाओ। आपे बीज आपे ही खाओ, आपे बीज आपे ही खाओ। परिये हथ पैर तन देह, परिये हथ पैर तन देह। पानी धोते उतरस खेह, पानी धोते उतरस खेह। आपे बीज आपे ही खाओ, नानक हुक्मी आवो जाओ, नानक हुक्मी आवो जाओ। आपे बीज आपे ही खाओ। मूत पलेती कपड़ होए, मूत पलेती कपड़ होए। दे साबुन लये धोए, दे साबुन लये धोए। आपे बीज आपे ही खाओ, नानक हुक्मी आवो जाओ, नानक हुक्मी आवो जाओ। आपे बीज आपे ही खाओ। धरिए मत पापा के संग, भरिए मत पापा के संग। ओहो धोपे नावे के रंग, ओ धोपे नावे के रंग। आपे बीज आपे ही खाओ, नानक हुक्मी आवो जाओ, नानक हुक्मी आवो जाओ। आपे बीज आपे ही खाओ। पुन्नी पापी आखण नाहे, पुन्नी पापी आखण नाहे। कर कर करना लिख न जाओ, कर कर करना लिख ल जाओ। आपे बीज आपे ही खाओ, नानक हुक्मे आओ जाओ, नानक हुक्मे आओ जाओ। आपे बीज आपे ही खाओ, आपे बीज आपे ही खाओ। The 20th stanza goes into the detail of the topic. The first stanza started with soche soch na howe, and we looked at it at that time and said soche does not mean to think about as is normally translated. Soche word came from suchata, pavitrata, by washing oneself, bathing oneself, going to the holy places to take a dip into the water, with the mindset, with the paradigm, with the notion that dipping in that holy water will also help to dissolve all the misdeeds, misjudgments, any negative energy, negative karma. And that is the interesting part that we have been so far paying special attention to, how all of this is tied in a sequence. When we were looking at the last stanza, and we were basically saying the topic there was असंख नाव असंख थाव अगम अगम असंख लोए असंख कहे सिर भार होए. And then we went into as to why it has to be said, and it came back with the word akhri naam akhri salaha. In order to communicate, the language is required. As soon as you start using the language, the moment you say the first word, you have introduced into the whole topic, whole subject matter, you have already introduced the fallacy, because you are trying to capture the indescribable into describable. You're trying to turn into it, and the very effort introduces the negative energy into it, the falsehood. But you can't help it, you can't do without it. And that's why it said, Asankh kahe sir bhar hoye. The moment I have used the word, I have created a problem for myself. मैं सिर ते पार उठा लिया. But I can't stop it. Why not? Because of language is required. Akhri naam, akhri salah. So we went through that. So why would immediately that 20th stanza start, Bhariye hath pair tande, पानी धोते उतरस खे, मूत पलीती कपड़ होए, दे साबुन लइए वो तोए. See? Look at the rash, how it is linked. Because the people, the initiators who thought about the purity of the totality, they had something totally different in mind when they suggested that the Jagyasu, the person who is starting on the path, should visit and should find the right sangat, should go to the places to look for those who have already gone on the path and seek the counsel, seek the guidance. Look for that kind of a company that would help you to modify and evolve your own being. Because if you stay locked in your own environment, then you are going to become and start feeling like that little bird who's always locked into a small cage and cannot see outside how big the sky is. Or that frog which lives in the well all the time and will have no concept of how big the ocean is. In order to get that idea, in order to get motivated into that dimension, you need to find the company. Hence, there was a need to go places. Similarly, for the mind to be quiet and peaceful and healthy, the body needs to be quiet and peaceful and healthy. And hence, it was suggested and it was proposed that you keep your mind body clean. Right? So the language was used to communicate this. That's what was said in the 19th stanza, that the language is required. Without language you cannot create the contact. Well, the language tried to communicate, but the listener drew a completely different meaning. What is easier for the listener to implement? The easiest thing to do is to throw money at it and be done with it. So we started visiting the so-called holy places and going there and then trying to wash, clean ourselves by bathing in those rivers or those ponds, etc. And here Guru Nanak points out, the Vani points out to us the danger of communicating in a single succinct statement and the risk of the seeker. How does he interpret it and how does he implement it? So the people implement it by going from place to place and every place they will go and they will bathe. In India there are now 4 major tirtha, right? The highest of the, and then there are small, actually there are 68 places in India that are considered holy. So people start going around in India and taking a dip into those water with the mindset, with the expectation that all of the sins, all of the negative energy would be washed away. So Gurvani takes that very first example that it pointed out in the first stanza and elaborate on it and say, look, somebody said something totally different, meant something totally different, but got implemented over the period totally differently. So the 20th stanza starts with the line, Pariye hath, pair, tan, dehe. Literally translated, this stanza is actually the easiest one. But when you go deeper into it, you will find that the concepts that are challenged in it are absolutely the most profound ones. So the first concept that is challenged, that when hath, the hands, pair, the feet, tan, the whole body, dehe, outer and inner, bhariye hath, pair, tan, de, the whole body, if it is dirty, if it catches the dust of any kind, what you do? Say the water helps in only cleaning that portion of it. Pani dhote utras khe. Khe means the dust. Pani, water. Dhote means to wash. Utras mean it will be washed away. If the body becomes dirty with the dust, the only job water can perform is to remove that dust, that dirt. So the inference here that the water would not do anything if there is any kind of malady in the inner core of the existence. Water has no capability washing out the sins. Water has no capability in removing the negative thought, negative energy. Not only that, it goes on to further elaborate, say, Moot paliti kapad hoy. If the cloth gets dirty, at the most, you can use the chemical. De saboon laye otoy. You can use with water some more chemical to clean the cloth. And that would be the end of it all. The cleanliness will end there. You cannot stretch it any further. And leaving no ambiguity or doubt, the next line builds on it and say, Bhariye mat papan ke sang. And that's where the human mind went absolutely astray. That we said, okay, go take a bath in Ganges. If you go to the Ganges, but you go on the day of the Kumbh, that particular moment, which is associated with the movement of the stars, the moon and the sun and so forth. So the moon is in a specific position, sun is in a specific, the earth is in a specific position, and that's when that cycle repeats every 12 years. So Kumbh da Mela har 12 saal baad lagda hai. So if you want to take a bath on that particular moment in the same water, it will have a different impact on your karma as compared to going on any other time. And the people truly believed it. In today's time, the last Kumbh Mela had more than 2 million people going through that place. There are hundreds of deaths because of the people getting trampled under the feet of various people because of whatever the rush caused it. So the paradigm completely got distorted. And Gurwani hammers at that. And it hammers and says, Bhariye mat papan ke sang. If the mind, if the thought process has become negative, if it has gone into, got attachment with the Maya, and not only with the Maya, but in a negative way. You can get attached to the Maya in a positive way, you can get attached with the Maya in a negative way. So Gurbani says, if you are attached with the Maya, and not only attached, but you are attached negatively, that is the extreme type of, most damaging type of attachment of the mind-body system. He says, that is not going to be helped by any kind of a washing process, with water or with the chemicals or with any kind of soap. It's not going to help. So what will help? Is there a solution to that? Of course it is. There is a solution to that. And he goes on to provide the solution in the next line. He says, O dhope nave ke rang. As you will go deeper and deeper into the chanting and the meditative states, as you will get namna range jaoge, rangya jana, as usa rang chadega, as it will, you go into the meditation and it will have its impact on you, the mind will automatically start going away, getting detached, getting away, pushed away from the negative energy. So the negative energy will start getting washed away. as you start getting deeper into the meditation, into the Naam Simran, into the chanting, and your conscious evolve to the higher stages, the negative energy will go down and down. Negative energy is like gravity, like a weight. The example that people give is that if you take a balloon and fill in the helium in the balloon is ready to go up into the air because it has become lighter than the air. But in order to not to let it float in the air, you tie a thread, and with the thread you put a weight, and it keeps to the ground. The consciousness is like that balloon of helium. It's ready to go upward. It's ready to rise above. But the negative energy acts as a weight. It keeps it down, tied to the earth. It keeps pulled down. So the effort of the meditator is to cut those weights one at a time. So you can imagine, you can visualize as if one weight is of the anger, one weight is of the greed, the lobha, the other is the moho, the attachment, the other is the desires, the vasana, kamana. So these are all weights, and they keep the balloon, the consciousness, which is light like a balloon, ready to float above and above and above. And these weights keep it tied down. So you need to take a scissor and start cutting them one at a time. And that's what meditation does. Meditation makes your mind quieter, so the anger goes away. You don't, you see the things and you don't react that much. The lobha goes away. You see a lot of money thrown in your face and it does not pull you back. Slowly and slowly, the detachments from various weights that pull you down. And that's what Gurbani says, that when bhariye mat papa ke sang, mat means the whole of the intellect, all of the consciousness, all of the mind body energy, when that is overloaded, bhariye, it's when it's overloaded with the negative energy, papa ke sang, then the only way you free yourself of that negative energy is, the only technique, there is nothing else that's going to help. It's not saying you do any penance, it's not going to say you go give so many or do so many yajanas or do so many part. No, it's not going to recommend that at all. Gurbani is not recommending that. You go to a saint, you go to a Gyani, a Sant, they will say that to you. Panch Japji de paat karo ji, ene akhand paat rakhwao ji, ene havan karo ji, they will tell you all of that. Gurbani says no. None of that ritualism is required, and it will not help you. The only thing that will help you is O dhope nave ke rang. It's mind-boggling to me that it is so simplistically stated, but totally ignored by every organized religion. Whether it is Hinduism, Islam, Christianity, Sikhism, Buddhism, doesn't matter. Every master comes in and says so simplistically. And that was the language, the barrier of the language that Gurbani is trying to explain. That's why it said, I am going to use the language. By using the language, I know I am introducing the error, but I have no other recourse. And here is a prime example of it, that in the Gurbani, there was absolutely no other formula given. In today's, in Sikh world particularly, there are societies which are doing only Sukhmani. And every month the people get together and they do Sukhmani. You know why? Because the paradigm is, because this is the reservoir of Sukha. So, because the Bani is titled Sukhmani. So now there are societies, Sukhabhanjan societies. I'm surprised. Just repeat. Sit down, 20, 30, 40, 100 people, and just that's about in 90 minutes reading. Just read from beginning to end. That's it. And that is supposed to suddenly do some miracles for you. That means I'm not stopping anybody from reading. If you want to read and you want to understand it, you want to go deeper into Sukhmani, that's an excellent objective. Because Sukhmani has the definitions that we so desperately need. What is a Sant? What is a Sadhu? What's a Brahmagyani? What's a Naam? What is Simran? What is Kirtan? It's all defined there. That's why it is called Sukhmani. That you will, moment you understand the real meaning, now you would not go on to the negative side, hence you will not fall into the trap of dukkha. That's why it's called Sukhmani. But it has been totally misinterpreted, totally taken a different way. The morning Vani, that is called Asadivar. Now, its title is Asadivar only because it was written and recited in Rag Asa. That's all. But the paradigm is Asadivar, go sing it, because Asa also translated means the hope. Ashama, desires. ये आशा पूरियां कर दिया है, सो आशा दीवार रोज गाया करो. That becomes a paradigm. Nobody talks about Naam, nobody talks of Simran, nobody talks of meditation, nobody discusses anything, just read and sing. And herein lies a direct mandate by Gurbani which says, Bhariye mat papa ke sang, o dhope naame ke rang. That's it. No other, there is no exception given to this. There is no addendum added on to this. This plus this. Only and only this. Chanting of the Naam. The meditation. Repetition of a single word. Keep going deeper and deeper into that single word. Whatever that word is. Bring the mind. Put it together. You will start with the mindful listening. Suniye. You will get to the manne, where there no mind. Those who have gone there, they are Panch Paraman. They are accepted over there. And if that is not to you, if that's not acceptable to you, you are doing other things. Asankh japa, asankh bhav. Asankh puja, asankh tapa. Asankh chora, haram khor, asankham. The people are doing all of that, except the real one that's required. And isn't that interesting? That in today's time, there's a lot more religious activity going on than in the times of the masters. It doesn't matter which religion you want to go. You go all the way back to Christianity or Judaism. Go to the oldest, the Egyptians and religion and all that. Did you think that there were so many weekly activities going on there at that time? There's no record of that. The means were few. The people were far spread. Means were very minimal. They couldn't get together in these fashions. Can you imagine anybody doing Akhand Path at the time of Guru Nanak or Guru Angad? Even the Granth wasn't ready yet. How could there be? Today, around the clock, this is going on. I don't know whether I told this group or not. I just read in the magazine that behind the Akal Takht in Amritsar, they are building air-conditioned rooms. They have a budget for 12 rooms. And in those 12 rooms, when somebody inquired, what are you doing here? And they said, we are building these rooms to start around the clock Akhand Path. So why do you need so many? Aren't already people around the Prakarma, everybody doing the Akhand Path? They said yes, but we have the demand is very high. There are 12 years of booking only from the people living in the foreign countries. They just send the money and say, Sadhe na Akhand Path kar de. There's so much demand. 12 years of, if we don't do something right now with the capacity we have, it will take us 12 years to finish it. So we are going to create 12 more rooms. In the 12 more rooms, each room will have multiple people sitting with multiple bead, Granth, and people reading in the name of this business.
Why don't they animate it?
But do they even do it?
Who knows? At least they are putting the pretense so that the people keep on sending the money.
And the people who are doing want to be in their position.
At least they have the
I just wonder if they would even do it in India.
The point I'm trying to make is, look how far away the center of the Sikh theosophy has gone away. And herein lies a direct commandment in the simplest possible form, saying, Bhariye mat papa ke sang odho pe nave ke rang. That's it. Nothing else to be done. Get into the meditation. Get into the chanting. The next line is now elaborating on the first line which said, Papan ke sang. So what is a pap? Say punni papi aakhar na hai. It's going to blow the mind of every listener who has a fixed paradigm. This is right, this is wrong. We are all brought up with that paradigm. We teach our children that paradigm. We discuss, we argue, and we fight. Some of us are willing to give our lives over what's right and what's wrong. What's holy and what's unholy. What is a sin and what is a holy task. Now, if you read the literal translations of this particular statement, that literal translation is that Paap punnu aime na samjhana. Don't just ignore it. It's a real thing. Punni papi aakhar na hai. I'm not just saying it. It is a real thing. That's what is translated into the Steaks. I have difficult time in accepting that. Gurbani is saying Pun and Paap, sinful and holy thing, is not for the man to decide. It's not for the man to put a label on. It is not the subject of language discussion that you can aakhar na hai. You cannot just say this is right and this is wrong. And that is a very difficult thing for us to accept. Why is Gurbani saying that? Gurbani is pointing out that these are nothing more than choices created by the ultimate creator. Because if you call something sinful, that by definition is not to be done, is to be avoided. If the creator meant something to be not to be done, and if you do it, get punished for it, then creator could have completely eliminated that and not created it at all. Right? If you put something in front of me, I take it and put it in my mouth and you slap me and say, you are not supposed to take that. The question would be, why would you put that in front of me anyway? Why did you give me a choice if I am going to be punished for that choice? You should not have given me the choice. That becomes a sadistic thing. It's what the little kid used to do. Will show the dog the bone as soon as the dog comes in and had a little stick in the hand and then hit him. That's very, very cruel thing to do. And the Creator is not a cruel being. He does not reward or punish. There is nothing good or bad in this universe. Everything is a drama. Everything is a part of the total leela, total khel, total play. And depending upon the choices you make, there is an action and a reaction. That's all. If you have chosen to touch the fire, you have that choice. And the end result is there is going to be burning sensation. God is not punishing you for touching the fire. You made a choice and there is a result of that choice. That distinction need to be understood very clearly. Otherwise, our choices, we do not take responsibility for our choices otherwise. And Gurbani is throwing that choice back on each one of us. It says, Punni papi akhan nahe kar kar karna likh la jao. That's it. Whatever you are doing, whatever you are choosing, everything is your responsibility. You are choosing based on your choice. The end result is going to be. It is not a partial. You have not been selectively chosen to be punished or rewarded for something. It is the same thing for every individual. All around the world, all around the universe. Anybody who's in a physical form follows this universal law. What is the universal law? Ape beej, ape hi khaho. Now beej, the seed. If you are worried about the fruit, then pay attention to the seed. Now the problem with the human mind is that there is a lot of gap between the seed and the fruit. Therein lies the problem. Therein lies the difficulty. Some of the seeds by this human being, this entity, was sown in the last life. Before that seed could become a fruit, I lost my body. Came back in a new body. And suddenly the fruit is presented. And I wonder, why this fruit for me? I didn't ask for it. I don't need this. Why is this fruit given to me now? We completely forget that the seed had been sown. Do you know that it takes 27 months for an elephant to give birth to a child? Human takes 9 months. Elephant takes 27 months of gestation. But there are seeds here. You take a plant, right? You take a hen, a chicken, an egg, right? Within 3 months. 6 to 10 weeks of gestation on the egg, and there is a chick. Gestation period differs. For there are plants which are seasonal, take 3 months, 6 months, or a year. But there is also a plant, the plant like mango tree, takes about 4 to 7 years before it gives the fruit. You put the seed and you just keep on waiting and nourishing it and nurturing it. Depending upon the seed, between planting the seed to the end result, the fruit itself, there's a time gap. Even within this lifetime, we have planted the seed of a certain thought, of a certain karma, and we forgot about it. And 20, 30, 40 years later, suddenly show up. And then we scratch our head and we start cursing the Creator. Why me? I didn't hurt anybody. I didn't do anything. Gurbani reminds us, if there is a fruit, once upon a time there was a seed for it. You can be absolutely sure of it. There is no fruit without the seed. Now the law of the nature is that fruit will have the same seed multiplied 10,000 times. Have you ever seen? When you plant one seed and it becomes a flower becomes a fruit. If you leave that fruit and don't pluck it and dry it up, in there are the seeds. If you crack open that, there will be thousands of seed, the same. Right? It's a common law of the farming, isn't it? You just planted one. That's the law of nature. And that is why the emphasis is that if you are doing a deed, think of the seed. Because this deed is going to get multiplied. It is this law that the organized religion has used to their advantage. You know how did they use that? They said you give $1 here and you'll get $10,000 up there. Because the seed gets multiplied. And this is the example they give you. See? You put one seed, you get this fruit. In the fruit there are so many seeds. Similarly, you put $1 here, wait, get back over there and you'll get 10,000. Suddenly, the businessman mind says, well, why give one then? Why not 1,000? I got $1 million over there. Long-term investment. And Gurbani says, be aware of that. There is a gap between the seed and the fruit, and that's the law of nature, that's his will. And if you are trying to get rid of the negative energy type of paradigms, influence in your life, no other seed is going to give you the right fruit. There's only one seed that you want to start planting, and that is the seed of Naam, the seed of meditation, the seed of chanting the word. Ape beej ape hi khaho. And that's another law of nature. If you put the seed of the Naam, you and only you would be getting that fruit. I can plant the seed of the mango tree, so it takes 4 years, 5 years. Well, the fruit may not come and I might die. My children can eat that fruit, even though I planted the seed. That is not true of the seed of Naam. This particular seed, if you agree to sow it, it will follow the law, ape beej, ape hi khaho. You cannot give it to anybody else. You cannot share it with anybody else. This is the seed. So, hence the recommendation. Understand the edict. Understand the verdict. Understand what is being said behind the words. Don't latch on to the statements for the sake of the statement. See what's behind it. And one of the examples today given is Pariye mat papa ke sang odhope nave ke rang. Punni papi akhan na hai. This is not for you to decide what's right, what's wrong. Reality is, there is nothing right and nothing wrong. They are all choices. They are choices that help your consciousness to grow into the higher realms. There are choices which keep your consciousness down, tied to the physical realm. Now, if you enjoy the physical realm and you want to make those choices, Go right ahead. This is not condemned. So the organized religion will try to interject the feeling of guilt in this. Why are you choosing this? Well, no, if you are enjoying it, that's okay. A 9-year-old girl asked me after the Kirtan, she said, "Uncle, why should I look for God? What's the need for this?" And the father of the girl rushed in to answer immediately and said, "So that you are not born again." She said, "But I want to be born again. I like you as a daddy. I want you to be my father." And the father is completely stumped. He said, "No, how to answer a 9-year-old? Why look for a God?" Now, why is this question coming? It is such a profound question from a 9-year-old. Because she absolutely has nothing to worry about. The life is absolutely full of games and toys and everything's being taken care of. She has nothing, no pain, no anything. She goes to father and father provides it. This is what Gurbani calls Dukh Daru. This is it. Sukha. The physical senses, when they are enjoying, they have no need for God. As a matter of fact, a sense cannot enjoy the world if she remembers the God. Do you know that? If you think of a meditative state, all the things that you're doing, if you're looking something beautiful or listening to something or tasting something, it will disappear. The two things cannot coexist. The total awareness about the senses would actually negate the sense itself. That is why, I have been thrown out of so many parties because they would have a scotch and I'll be talking about God and so, get out of here. I'm enjoying my drink. Go sit over there. It has happened to many times. And I wonder what's the problem with it. I'm slowly beginning to understand their problem. Because they really cannot, they want to go to sleep. The mind wants to go to sleep. Mind doesn't want to stay alert that I am enjoying the physical senses. So the little child is having a fun on this planet. Why would he not want to come back? Similarly, and it doesn't matter, a question was asked by a child, but look at any adult. Punjabi च कहावत सी जिहदे पैर ना फुट्टी ब्याई ओ की जाने पीर फराई. You know what does it mean? You know what's a bayai? When you walk bare feet, the skin of the heel starts cracking up. If you walk bare feet too long on the clay, and it literally starts bleeding, it starts getting infected because the people can afford have a decent shoe. So they walk bare feet. And because they're walking bare feet, the skin gets dry and skin starts cracking. So those cracks are called byai. So if the translation of this particular quotation is that anyone who hasn't even felt the pain of a little crack in the heel, how is he going to appreciate the pain which are of a higher level? The search for a higher life comes in when you have tasted the negative side of the life also. If you have seen only the positive sides of the life and you have been protected and sheltered, you would have no need, no desire for looking for any higher level. Senses will absolutely put you to sleep, which is what happened to Gautama. From day one till he got married, till he had a child of 18 months, he was sheltered, protected from everything. Literally underground. So a 9 years old child is exactly that, sheltered, protected. Now, we could be the same way if the nature has given us a good health, good resources, good wealth, and we enjoy the senses. There will be absolutely no need. This will be all gibberish. Why should I not be born again? I am enjoying it. I want to have fun. And Gurbani says, negative and positive. The life moves in that dimension. Don't start stamping it, labeling it. The law of nature basically says, you are going to sow a seed. Every other seed, the fruit can be shared with anybody else, but this is one fruit that cannot be shared with others. You are going to be the one who's going to taste that fruit. Aape beej, aape hi khao. Is that somebody's a human decision? In the last line of the stanza, Gurbani says, no, this is the eternal law. Nanak hukmi avo jaho. This is the true will. This is the true design of the creation. It is not somebody's whims and fancy. You cannot modify it. You cannot change it. You can complain all you want. You can critique all you want. You can analyze all you want. It has been that way. It will continue to be that way. Which is, aape beej, aape hi khao. पर ये मत पापा के संग वो धोपे नावे के रंग. These are all part of the eternal design. So in the 20th stanza today, so you can see now, as we have been constantly attempting, how it is tied with the 19th. 19th talk about akhri naam akhri salaha, akhri gyan geet gun ga. That the words are used to communicate, but the listener, of no fault of his own. See, that's the compassion of the Bani. It's not saying that you were wrong. He said this is the nature of the beast. Language is required. As soon as you open the mouth, you introduce a fallacy, and a mind that's not alert and awake actually runs with it as a fallacy and never gets into the actual message, never looks behind the words. So the immediate message is, look behind the words. Don't just get trapped by the grammatical, the linguistic or historical, etc., the paradigms. So I think we should not start the 21st today. It's quite a long one, and we are meeting after a long time. It's the first talk of the year. So the only prayer I have for all of us is that maybe if the 202 went without his meditation and without his naam, maybe 203 will motivate us, and he will grace us and bless us to actually implement these suggestions so that we can truly get on the journey that we are all meant to get to. So with that, I thank you, and we will meet 2 weeks from today and continue on this.